I think it's a fabulous event where the students become their own bosses. What's amazing about the event is that it isn't a class. No one's grading them, and they want the show to go on. So they're not working for an A grade, they're working for this event that's bigger than each of them individually, and they recognize that, they see the value of it, and they just pour their energy into it, each and every one of them. And that's the amazing thing about Art to Wear.
I started being involved in Art to Wear in 2006, and I've been involved every year since.
In 2007, I helped with the fundraising, so I went around and spoke with local business owners to see if they'd like to donate money to put on the production.
I participated in Art to Wear in 2006. It was my first year in graduate school, and I was a designer in the show. I was the chair of publication, and I also did the graphic design that year.
In 2008, I was a designer for the show. That was the last year they had it in the Court of Carolinas. And then last year in 2010, I directed the show, and then I also was a designer and won the Audience Choice Award for my collection.
I would say that the Art to Wear show is exciting, competitive.
It's creativity and innovation.
Celebration, showcase.
Emotion, everything's very emotional.
Magical and electrifying.
Performance, collaboration.
And just all around a great experience.
Art to Wear pretty well takes over my life. During the spring semester particularly, I work at it a lot, and I work really closely with the directors particularly to make sure they feel they have all the support they need to make the show a success.
One of the first memories I have was when we went to the new venue in the Court of North Carolina. We always stress over, is it going to rain? Is it going to rain? If the winds are too high, we can't have a projection screen. So, we went from our two little screens to one huge screen. Are the wind's going to be too high? We can't put the big screen up. So we finally went to the Reynolds Coliseum. That was a huge jump for us because now all of a sudden we went from, what was a large sum of money to a huge sum of money that we had to make. But in the end, those end up being small things compared to the show, actually.
And then the third best memory, and why I have continued to work on this year after year, is just how much the students learn in doing it. And the designers get the glow of the spotlight that night, but there are always a ton of other volunteers, and particularly the directors and people who take charge of the committees, and they all learn so much in this process.
And some of it is so hysterical that, you laugh so much you cry, and the other is so emotional, you laugh, you cry. So that's what brings it home and gives me heart over the whole thing. It makes it all worth it, makes all the effort worth it, is the final fashion show and all the effort of the designers.
Practically speaking, Art to Wear was an education in terms of what it takes to put on a show and make a collection, which is something you just can't know until you have to do it. As a student, you have ideas and you make pieces, but you don't actually put them all together until something like Art to Wear.
Even though at the time I may not have realized it, I feel like the Art to Wear show almost represents a little curve in my entire aesthetic of my design.
Learning to think about, how long should the runway be, and how many lights do we need, and where do they go, and where do I find 9 pairs of shoes in different sizes that all match? Like those kinds of things all come up in the course of putting on Art to Wear.
I think especially from last year designing and directing, it really gave me the confidence to keep pushing myself as a designer, and gave me the confidence to apply for Charleston Fashion Week. I don't think I would have done that if I hadn't had the experiences from Art to Wear.
Furthermore, it's a volunteer experience, and since then I've just gone on. It's so great just for networking and for confidence building and for portfolio expanding and for your resume to get involved in these volunteer productions. And then you can go on and do bigger ones and different ones. I think it's really good.
I remember one of the craziest days was the day of the show, obviously. I was at the hair salon with my models and getting phone calls every 5 seconds with ticket problems, stage problems. And I don't have a smartphone, so I couldn't get on the internet to try and fix this. So I'm like trying to learn how to use an iPhone and plan the show, but make sure my model's hair is perfect. And it's just like, it was crazy and stressful, but now I look back on it, it was fun.
Personally, my favorite memory of the show was peeking out from between the flaps in the tent and watching the lawn fill up with people.
Another memory I have is just before the show, as the students are standing and they're dressed in their outfits and they have their makeup and their shoes on and they're nervous and the designers are nervous and they're waiting to go on stage. There's this anxious energy at that point in time that's really interesting as well.
Not personally, the thing that sticks with you from the show is when the music stopped in the middle of the show, which was a huge malfunction, but it wound up being a really cool moment because everyone sort of expected everything to stop with the music, but Liz's models they totally kept going and they were super professional about it, and everyone was so impressed with the collection but also how they handled that little snafu.
My favorite thing about being involved in Art to Wear was working one-on-one with the professors. I really enjoyed the fact that instead of having assignments, we would delegate work and then we'd meet back and have actual one-on-one, same level conversations with professors about what they thought about design and branding and sponsors. And I can honestly say that I made some contacts then with those professors that I still use today, 5 years later.
The best memory is when the show's over and the audience is going out of the building and backstage, everyone's gathered and there's a sense of euphoria and happiness. Up until now, the show has gone off very, very well, and so the students are really proud. You can feel the energy. They are just on such a high that it is the most wonderful feeling in the world to feel that feeling.
The actual after party, I probably went for 10 minutes. I was exhausted. I went home and slept. It was the best sleep I've ever gotten in my life.
Well, I would like to see it, I think, be more closely analyzed and integrated into the curriculum itself.
I would like for the rest of Raleigh to discover that we have an Art to Wear show that they haven't seen and that they need to discover. So I'd like to increase our attendance by 5,000 in a very short period of time.
I would wish for it to always be student-driven and for it to always be exceptional and original and to always have wonderful support from the community.
I would like the Art to Wear show to continue tightening and tightening its design until it was just a really recognized, fabulous show that NC State got a lot of attention for, and I think it's completely possible.
April 12th at 10 o'clock at night. The show has gone really, really well, and we're all really proud and happy, just like we all every year, and that this year's show goes off without a hitch and is bigger, better, and more wonderful than all past years.